I really don't like when a story starts in the middle with like a clip from something very exciting that's going on, and then a voiceover comes in and says something like, "Bet you're wondering how I got here." Hey everybody, my name is Nick. I'm a director living in Taiwan, and today I'm going to be talking about the new Netflix series Narco-Saints. The show follows a Korean businessman who moves to Suriname to start a fish exporting business. He runs into some drug dealers, gets tangled up in a complicated web, and ends up working for the National Intelligence Service to bring down a Korean drug dealer that is working in Suriname. So I'll start right off by saying this is a really entertaining show. I recommend it if you like this kind of topic, like shows about drugs, undercover cops, this kind of thing. It's a pretty solid entry into that genre. But there were some things that I didn't like about it, a lot of things that I did like about it. So I want to break down this review into the top 3 things that I liked and the top 3 things that I did not like from Narco-Saints. All right, number 1 thing that I hated from the show Narco-Saints was that I really don't like when a story starts in the middle with like a clip from something very exciting that's going on, and then a voiceover comes in and says something like, "Bet you're wondering how I got here." That's exactly how this series starts. Our main character is riding in a truck, about to do a drug dealer, voiceover comes in, and it kind of explains the situation, and it's supposed to lure us into the story. I understand why they do this. They probably feel that starting at the beginning of the story, like chronologically, isn't as entertaining or exciting as showing you something that's gonna happen later, getting you kind of enticed into the show, makes you wanna watch it to that point to see how the character got there. I get the reasons for it, but I just think it's been very overdone at this point, and it's honestly a bit of lazy screenwriting. Personally, I blame like the screenwriting pitching system for the reason that this trope is so popular, because whenever I've talked to people who have the money or want to pitch something to somebody who can help get money, you know, this is one of the first notes that they always give is make sure that the first scene is really exciting, which is a good note. I'm not saying that those people are wrong. I think though that a lot of screenwriters see the laziest and easiest way to do this is to be like, okay, I'll take my best scene and I'll put it at the beginning and then I'll just use it as a flashback, which, you know, that's why I don't like it, because it feels like a shortcut to doing the thing that you need to do to make your story work. And having the voiceover doesn't help. I'm not against voiceover in general. I am against it if it's just used as like a lazy way to give backstory, you know, and I think it's clearly being used like that here because it's abandoned after the first episode, if I'm not mistaken. You know, the uselessness of the voiceover is best illustrated in a scene where the character is like looking at a piece of paper with a high test score from his son on it, and then he says something like, "My son was really good at school." You just showed me that with the test score. I saw it on the paper. I'm not stupid. But the voiceover, I think, just really wants to make sure, don't miss this point. You know, we got to say it because you won't catch it otherwise. First thing I loved about the show is that it's a super interesting situation. I'm a sucker for the undercover drug smuggling genre of movies. I like cops and robbers stuff. There's just so many opportunities for tension, for interesting secrets. It can be done badly, of course, but I don't think it is done badly here. I think, you know, there's a lot of different players and plot lines to follow. There's like the Korean gang, there's the Korean spy, there's the Chinese gang, there's the DEA. There's all these different people that are kind of trying to achieve a goal, and it's just really exciting. And when the stakes are high, you know, life and death, it's just a fun genre, and I really do appreciate when people make this kind of stuff. The second thing that I didn't really like about Narco-Saints is the disclaimer that comes at the beginning that says this was based on a true story. As far as I know, in looking into it, it's pretty loosely based on a true story. And I think it's cool that they took a real situation of this Korean drug dealer from Suriname, and then they developed a show around it. And I think it's also pretty cool that they embellished it and put in a lot more interesting things into it. That's okay, that's fun. I thought the embellishments were exciting, like having a giant shootout with the military in Chinatown. I kind of doubt that that happened, but you know, it was a cool scene and I liked it. My problem with it is when they tell me this is based on a true story at the very beginning, I just gets me thinking, okay, like what's real, what's not, and then when I see all the fantastical ways that they embellished it, I start being like, it takes me out of the story a little bit, because I start saying like, well, that couldn't have really happened, and that part might be fake, and I bet these characters probably weren't real people, only this guy was real, or maybe this guy was also real, or I wonder if that guy was real. And I don't really like that I'm thinking about that. And so I don't think that putting the based on a true story disclaimer at the start really helps me enjoy the work. I mean, it might help with marketing, again, but I don't know if it helps elevate the story into something better. I think it actually takes away from it a little bit. Interesting little fact, while researching this video, I found that Goodfellas both starts with saying that it was based on a true story and starts with a scene in the middle. And I love Goodfellas. Goodfellas is like my favorite movie of all time, pretty much. And so it's not to say that like these techniques are bad or wrong. I just think that, you know, Goodfellas did it the best. And a lot of shows, especially the fact that this is like a drug show, I kind of think that they probably were influenced by Goodfellas. I don't like that they use these techniques. I mean, this is not Goodfellas. Like, Goodfellas is very unique and specific work, and to copy it is a little like, it's just overdone at this point. Number two thing that I really, really liked was that the characters looked grimy in this show. You know, they look like they belonged in a dirty drug dealing world. And this may seem like a small detail, but I think it's so often in shows that everything is made to be polished and glossy. And certainly this is a Korean show, so it has a little bit of that. But I do think that they worked pretty hard on making things feel grimy. Like, the Chinese gangster is a very handsome man in real life, and they have him have long stringy hair and made him just look like just a scumbag, which was great. It was super cool. The main actor was supposed to be, you know, a 40-something businessman. He's a Korean movie star, but this guy, they made it so you can kind of see the blemishes on his face. He gets sweaty. He gets kind of gross looking at some points in the show. And I think that that's an important detail that is missing in a lot of over-polished TV especially, but in movies too, where they want everybody to look really nice and clean and good looking throughout the whole movie, no matter what they're doing. Number three thing that I loved, I'll go right into that because it's a little related, is that I love the characters in this show. Acting can be a little over the top at times, but it's fun. It matches the tone of the show, works. The characters are actually complex and interesting. Like, I liked this idea of a businessman who's kind of oddly comfortable in the drug dealing world and kind of, you know, he's in a high stress situation, but he actually ends up performing really well, and he kind of seems like he fits as a drug dealer and he should be a drug dealer, but he's too good of a person and he doesn't really want to hurt anybody, but also he kind of likes it when he gets to pretend to be a bad guy. So that's a little complex. And then I really loved the Chinese gangster. He might have been my favorite character in the show, where he's kind of this projecting this badassness. He's like the reverse of the businessman, where he's projecting this like, I'm a badass, but actually he's a really nice kind of good person on the inside, and he's trusting and gullible. And I wasn't expecting that I would feel bad for him, but I ended up doing it because of the way they set up the character throughout the show. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff like that. You know, the evil pastor, a little bit one-dimensional, but he's very good. He's very good at showing this evilness, you know, using religion as a kind of self-denial of his own evil, which is also pretty cool. Final number three thing that I didn't like, also simple, but very important to me. I heard rumors that there's going to be a season 2. Don't do that. The show is self-contained. It's a tight story. Everything is wrapped up nicely at the end. You know, I like the way that things ended. I thought the ending was pretty good. You don't have to suck the life out of everything and just kind of drag it out into as many seasons as you can because it's something that's popular. I don't want this show to become like Ozark, where it just goes on forever and then fizzles out to an unsatisfying end. Like, let's not do that. I think it's cool to create things that are self-contained and then they end. It's satisfying as a viewer. So I hope that Netflix just keeps this what it is and lets it be done. So those are my thoughts on Narco-Saints. If you like drug shows, I would recommend this show. Like I said, not perfect, little things that annoyed me, but you know, this is a review thing and I'm being nitpicky. Overall, it's a fun show to watch. Check it out. If you want me to review anything, please let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.